Welcome to the Machine Divination channel. This is just an intro video on some of the experiments I've conducted on machines as sacred inanimate objects. And I just want to share with you on the first video just some cards that come up when you encounter doing readings of machines. This includes autonomous robotics and non-autonomous robotics. The first card that I think is the most important when divining a machine is the Emperor card. The Emperor card is the card of locomotion. It's also a card that shows up for defective motors, defective tachometers, because it's also a card for speed. It could show up when the machine is overloaded, and it is a very helpful card when you're dealing with a non-autonomous system where you have cables outside the robot and power supplies, AC, and amplifiers. It will tell you usually when it goes upside down that the problem is inside the robot. The next section is the importance of knowing your connections in a robot. One quality engineer of a robotics company recently stated that 80% of all problems found in the field of robotics concern dealing with connection problems, terminal blocks, connectors, adapters, and these involve open and short circuits. The knowledge of short and open circuits should be paramount when divining a machine. So these are very important cards that come up. So in a moment, I'll start giving you some cards, starting with short circuits first. The first card I've encountered with a short circuit was in a robot whose batteries were shorted out, and literally the acid was starting to pour at them before I realized what was going on and shut the robot off. That card that shows up for this particular catastrophic short was the Tower card upright. So if you get the Tower card upright, watch out for those short circuits. Ohm your power supply before you apply power in a situation like that. Another card that may show up with a short circuit is the reversed Empress. So basically an inversion or negation of relaxation. So you would have an analog of that, which would be excessive current consumption or shorts. So next we will be talking about open circuits. Open circuits are usually related to stasis type cards of the tarot. And let me name a few of those. The Hermit up. Obviously, this is kind of a stasis card. If you disconnect and go away somewhere, the analog of that when reading a machine would be an open circuit. Now, if that Hermit goes reversed, then there's going to be, it may also tell you that there's an open circuit, just with the additional suggestion from your oracle that you need to connect it back up. And there may be a implication there that nothing was damaged. The Hangman is also a stasis card and may show up in readings like this. Actually, the ones I've already mentioned I've encountered in real life. So now the ones that they may or may not have encountered, they're kind of grouped together here. But these I imagine would show up depending on what your oracle wants to show you as an individual. So some other stasis cards include the Star reversed, the Universe, or it's also called the World card reversed, the Devil reversed, the Pope or Hierophant reversed, and the Empress actually upright this time, where during a short circuit the Empress was reversed. So the Empress can play both sides of that like some of these cards can. So there's an example for you. By the way, I'm using the Rider-waite tarot deck, and that's not really apparent to this point because I haven't gone into a reading yet. or the symbolism, how that plays into a reading. We'll talk about that in a future reading. This is just an intro as far as what cards show up for certain situations that I found. I have encountered a Tower Reverse card when a customer was complaining about a problem with their robot. And this one showed up when the customer was just committing operator error. So when the tower is reversed, it could be just a false alarm. Just keep that in mind. Wanted to add that. The Temperance card, I've seen this as an analog of transmutation and filtering for the liver. If you looked up the bioenergetics, or the analog of the bioenergetic on the Temperance card, this card here, you would have something that's transmuting but also has filtering. This would distinguish it from a kidney, an analog of a kidney reading. So this transmutation and filtering that I found it associated with is a data conversion, data type converter box. And it happened to have a filter in it. I looked at the schematic. It happened to have a filter in it as well. So this will hit the threat. You will be your threat. This will hit the threshold as far as what your oracle presents to you over a kidney card, which may just be more of a filter and a solo, you know. But I haven't seen a kidney one yet, so I'm not sure. But that's what I saw, and that's what I surmise. The Two of Cups reverse. This card showed up as something that would be calling to the mutuality of a system being disturbed. So in the case of what I saw it turn up in is there was a break in the robotic arm, and that break that's normally supposed to be applied to, you know, stop motion was actually partially energized. So it was interfering with the mutuality of the movement. And this particular card, the Two of Cups reverse, showed up for that. It's very interesting. There's a couple of cards that will lead you, just like in life when you're doing readings about someone's situation and, you know, how they're analyzing something. The same holds true here. When you get the 3 and the 9 of Swords reversed, they can indicate that someone is misdiagnosing a problem and looking in the wrong place, and the premise of their troubleshooting strategy is off. So they just give you a warning not to waste your time and go down that tree, you know, of the fishbone, so to speak. Down the rabbit hole the wrong way there. The Page of Discs, I've seen this show up when the problem will show it's manifesting in a spot. Let's say there's a status indicator indicating a fault. It will just tell you, in this place, you'll be able to see an indicator telling you something wrong about the problem, calling attention, a status alarm, calling attention to something. It's not where the problem is. It's just where it may manifest or alarm you as to what the problem may be to some degree. The Wheel of Fortune reversed, I've seen this several times. This one comes up quite a bit. It's usually when a rotating part, as you would imagine, goes bad, and we all know about the roto word that's in there in the wheel. So roto, anything rotating. I've seen pulley wheels, something to do with the pulley being bad that rotates. The rotating position reporting devices, also rotating counters. Maybe you have a counter in a gas pump that's counting something, or a synchro transmitter is telling you the position of a robotic arm. I've seen these things, pulleys, anything rotating. You'll get this wheel come up to let you know it's a rotating part. And later on, we'll learn how you know where it is, so you can distinguish, you know, what section of the robot has the bad rotating part by using a location using a locator. I don't want to get too much into that right now, but you can actually locate something using the houses of the zodiac, just like you do the human body. And the more the robot looks like the sacred proportions of the human body, the easier it is. The less the robot looks like the human body in ratio and proportions, the more difficult it gets. You get, you basically have to go to just a flat out grid to, and there's some error, your error starts to increase, at least mine does. But more on that in a future video. The two of discs, I've seen this show up on something I aforementioned with position reporting, and that position reporting device has two packages, so it gives you this two. And then these two packages actually all together put out three waveforms. And if you look in the back on the Rider-waite deck at the two of discs, you will see three waveforms in the back of that. So I actually saw the three waveforms, keying me in that there's three waveforms involved, and the two, because this package has two packages to do all the reporting. One is for the fine, one is for the coarse. But all together they make three. So the two of discs explains this and homes you in on that. The two of wands up, I'm only speculating on this one. I have not seen it yet. I think that the two of wands, because the man has a globe in his hand, this is indicating a ball bearing. And the reason why I would say that is the two also, not just the symbolism of the round globe, but the two could represent the two race rails of the bearing itself that hold the bearings in. So that two-ness, and I think there's a mutuality in this card factor like in the other two that I explained before, the two of cups. So I think those three things points to the two of wands as a ball bearing card. I would watch for that. Some robotics devices have RF components. One of those components is the RF mixer. And the star card up may indicate a problem with the mixer. And there's a crossroads kind of factor in defining this card. And in this case, it's the crossroads of multiplication. So the crossroads of multiplication indicating, you're multiplying two signals. You get a positive of the subtraction of that signal and a plus of the two signals as a result of multiplying the two trigonomic identities. Let's say two sine waves, sine and a cosine wave. The Four of Wands reversed is another card, and actually this card does come up a lot. It's not there with the Wheel of Fortune for my application, or especially the Emperor, who's the granddaddy. But this one shows up a lot just for general failures. The Four of Wands reversed. It can also be a particular failure that's right under your nose. In my case, there was a relay with a clear package, and I actually spotted the contactor collapsed inside the relay package. And this was the card I drew telling me what I should look for. So I think it's not just a failure card saying, yeah, this is a real failure. This is not going to be a no troubles found by, an operator error that they don't realize, they didn't know what they were doing and they thought it was a real error. This card, like the Emperor for a machine, will key you in that it's a real failure. Again, that is the Four of Wands reversed.